Welcome into Bet the W. I'm your host, Danielle Alvari, wrapping up the week with 3 WNBA games on Thursday and 2 on Friday. But to be honest, the Friday ones are looking a little bit bleak. Nevertheless, we will break down all of the Thursday action and look ahead to the Friday games. And by we, I mean myself, and Dano Mataya is here for the show today. You can follow him on Twitter at @drmataya. He gives out his bets on Spread the Floor, which is powered by Her Hoop Stats, which is another great resource if you're looking to handicap the WNBA or women's college basketball when that time comes. So before we get into the breakdown with Dano, we did have to record before the lines were available again. We'd like to get these a little bit earlier, but nevertheless, we were able to project the lines, got pretty close, and the analysis is all there. So you'll get into that. But since we do have the lines now, I'm going to jump into those. But before I do, this is going to be the last pod for about a week because I am actually taking vacation time. I don't know the last time I took a full week off. I could not tell you. Working in sports, it's the beauty of it, right? There's always something going on, especially sports betting, always something to bet on, even like Romanian ping pong, it seems. There's always something. And that also is why it can get a little frustrating when people say, oh, the NBA finals are over. What are we going to bet on now? What are we going to do until the NFL starts? Grow up, grab a seat, bet the W. Let's do it. So there's 3 games on Thursday. That was pretty aggressive. I apologize. Atlanta Dream at the Connecticut Sun is where we will start in the breakdowns. The line came out as the Sun favored by 7.5 at home here, total of 163. Now, my guess was the Sun were going to be favored by at least 6.5. We saw a 7.5 here. And the total, I guess, was 163.5. So pretty on target there. Not super interested in this total, which is unfortunate. That pretty much goes for all the games on Thursday. I've looked at my betting record so far. Totals have been going exceptionally well, but I'm trying to show restraint at times that I don't necessarily think that there's a super strong play one way or the other. And this Thursday slate just might be that situation. Keep in mind. But Dano and I will talk about this in our breakdown. If we're getting 7.5, 8 points with the Dream, we want to look at that Dream team right now. They are coming off of a win that I'm sure they're very high on. You hope there isn't like a little letdown after that. But 7.5, 8 points with this Dream team based on how well Underdogs have been performing. Killing it. We have no home Underdogs in this slate on Thursday either, which has been the sample size that has really performed well. They're covering at a rate above 70%, but Underdogs in general covering above 60%. So is it a trend that's going to continue? We'll see. But if we're getting almost 8 points with the Dream here, I like it. We're going to go that way. Indiana Fever at the Chicago Sky is the next game. I thought the Sky would be laying 3.5. Opening line has the Sky laying 3. Total of 159.5. I had this total pegged just a touch higher, 161.5. And that's more out of respect to what the Fever have been able to do offensively so far. Now, there was a little note of, is Kalia Copper going to play for the Chicago Sky, which is very important to the handicap, obviously. And Dano and I say that we're not really interested in betting this spread if we don't know what the status is of Kalia Copper, at least in favor of the Sky. Dano also will bet the Fever at pretty much any number. That's where he's at right now with them. He's bet them some money line games and it's gone well for him. But for me, I thought if I'm getting 3.5, 4 points with the Fever, I'm more interested. But I think the Chicago Sky team is going to hold it down at home. The Fever led a lot of the last game these two teams played. It went into overtime. Chicago locked it up in overtime. I don't think they're going to let the Fever come out and sort of punch them in the mouth right from the jump. So for me, the spread's not super enticing one way or the other at this number, and it may be a live betting situation, if anything. Again, the total 159.5. I lean to the over here. We saw this go way over in an overtime game. We'll see if it continues again. And then the last game on Thursday that Dano and I will break down is the Seattle Storm at the Las Vegas Aces. I naively thought this would be somewhere around 14.5, 15.5. No. The Aces laying minus 17.5. 17.5 they're laying. Total of 167.5, which is exactly what I had it on. Not surprising necessarily because this is the first place team essentially playing the last place team. But I still think it's a low total for an Aces game. This is about the lowest number you get. Usually we're getting something above this or in the 170s. So it would be tempting to look to an over, but keep in mind, these two teams already played this season. It was the first game out of the gates and things have changed since then. Seattle looks serviceable on some nights, not necessarily against the best team in the league, but we'll see. And in that game, that first game of the season, Seattle scored just north of 60 points and Las Vegas scored well over 100, which ended up covering the over, but they had to pretty much do it themselves. So again, not super loving any of these totals on Thursday's slates, but Dano and I break them all down. So let's get into that. Let's welcome in Dano Mataya now. Dano, I was going to wear my Liberty sweatshirt that I bought while I was in New York. Thank you again for the tickets. Those are amazing seats. I see that you're wearing your Liberty shirt today, but I couldn't do it. And I couldn't do it based on what we saw on Tuesday night. The Liberty lost to the Dream. What happened? You were there.
I walked in the stadium and I said, it's a dream day. Went out, bet it, recommended the subscribers. I felt it right when I walked in the stadium. But I thought Ryan Howard was going to have a great game. She did not. I did not expect what we saw from Brianna Stewart. Just 1 for 13, probably her worst game since like maybe high school, you know? I'm sitting there with the fans, and I'm normally pretty quiet, and I was definitely quiet yesterday.
Are you a quiet fan?
Well, I'm quiet when I'm betting on the opposite team. Let's say that.
Okay, fair.
So I had a lot of investment in the Dream last night, and I'm like, I think they're a plus 460 underdog, so super hopeful they can pull it off. But I'm like, is Jonquel gonna ever have her moment? Like, she's here? Is she? I don't know if they know how to use her yet. But it just seems like a net negative on the court.
It felt that way in Connecticut at times, did it not?
Oh, last year, yeah, but the year after her MVP season?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think it just shows that like Liberty's floor is lower than people think.
Yeah. I think that's true. I even was saying, and this is maybe too early to say, but I was even saying that Aces, they're not covering these giant spreads right now. So maybe they are a little bit more vulnerable than we think. Maybe these super teams are not as impenetrable as people thought before the season started.
Yeah, incredible backdoor by the Sky the other night or the other day. Golly, I can't imagine being up 29 on a 13.5 point spread and losing that. That would have been so tough.
And the half was important.
Yes,
let me tell you. I had some friends who had the 13 and they were not happy, but I said, at least you didn't lose money. It was a push, at least.
Yeah.
Underdogs are crushing it right now. 33, 18, and 3 against the spread. They're covering at a rate above 64%. Home dogs, 15 and 6. They're covering 71% of the time. Imagine if you had bet all the home dogs so far this season. We won't have any on Thursday's games, which is unfortunate, but we will have 3 road dogs. 18, 12, and 3 against the spread for road dogs, which means they're covering still 60% of the time. Underdogs just crushing it. Do you think this is going to continue?
Yeah. I think the numbers are just going to keep being
You've been parlaying these.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I don't remember the last time I bet a favorite. It's been a minute. I miss it.
I think I looked at my history here, my bets, and I was like, I don't even know. I think I have 2 favorite bets this year, and they both lost.
I mean, to me, in my mind, the Fever are favorite all the time. I can't get enough. Baby Fever.
Well, especially those money lines.
God, they're just so fun. Every game is close with them, of course, except until the fourth quarter yesterday. Don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last time they had a 20-point win is, but I had to reach back in the historical archives. But I mean, do you feel confident taking? Who knows? Dream would probably be an 8-point underdog tomorrow, maybe 10.
Yeah, 10? I put 6.5. Is that too short?
I think it was 4.
Well, because they just played too, right? They just played. The Dream had to play again in between, so they lost to the Sun at home, 89-77.
Yep.
Right. The Sun haven't played since then. The Dream had to travel. They just went to New York and won 86-79. So they do have travel and more factored in. And now they're traveling again to play at Connecticut. Connecticut, absolute best, third 3-point defense in the league. And the Dream shot 26% against them last time, 5 of 19. I think was a huge issue for them. So I thought I was being very favorable making this only Sun 6.5. You think we're going to get 8? And if we do, I'd be interested in an 8 and 8.5.
I'm interested in anything over 4 at this point with any team except the Mercury and
with
Mystics.
Any underdog.
Mercury and Mystics is going to be disgusting, but I have a nugget for that. Um, I I woke up this morning and was like, yeah, I'm betting the Dream tomorrow. I woke up this morning and also said I was betting the over, so that didn't work out. But
Mhm.
I just think you definitely need to get some type of level of added confidence, and uh, I think the Dream know they can play with everybody, and the fact that Haley Jones is getting great reps. I mean, it was
Mhm.
loud as hell at Barclays last night. She made clutch free throws, clutch threes. I think she makes a lot of people better
Yeah.
because they're not. I don't like their offense. I don't think it's got too much flow, but they play hard. They
Mhm.
make plays, and that's what you need with a team like the Dream, who's got a lot of athletes and people who can knock down shots. The Sun are known to have those offensive lulls, and they're probably gonna come out semi confident that they've already taken care of the Dream. They know what happened in New York, but uh, I just love a team riding a wave of confidence. I was all
Mhm.
over it last night. I just was like, they're not losing four in a row. They need
Yeah, but
this.
Connecticut is that team that wants to put you in your place, I think. They're playing with the biggest chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, they're Rebecca Allen second half from losing by
Mm.
30 to the Aces. So I'm not giving them too much credit yet. Um,
Okay.
but the market does like Connecticut a lot. So and I mean, I'm thankful for them for that 25 plus, wins. I mean, I hope we get there as soon as possible. But
Yeah.
I'm I'm feeling a confident Dream Team, and like dogs are just so pretty right now. So
Yeah.
Ollie
It's
loves it.
hard. Oh, I know. Ollie the dog, of course. And for those who don't know, Dano's dog, Ollie. I actually put him in the teaser for this episode earlier this week, so Ollie must have known. But yeah, I agree with you. The market's high on the Sun, so if we get something like 7.5, 8.5, I'd definitely be interested in taking the Dream here, especially the way underdogs have performed. I think that there was that game at home, or games that they dropped at home versus the Liberty and versus the Sun, and that was right around the time they lost Ari McDonald.
Mhm.
And then they had to install Haley. And I think Haley's done a good job. I think she is one of those glue players. And to your point, not a lot of flow in this Atlanta offense, but maybe Haley's going to be the one that's going to kind of help them out in that regard. The only thing, of course, is the thing that people were worried about going into the draft. She's not a 3-point threat at all yet right now. And when you have 4 players on the court that can score versus 5, not ideal. But I definitely like what I've seen from her so far. I like the Dream here. Are you worried about these 3-pointers though? Because I am a little bit, because this Connecticut defense really shut them down last time.
That's true. I don't know how this game went over, right? Was it
Yeah.
80, 86, 79?
86 to 79. Yeah.
And I mean they were up pretty comfortably in the second half. Uh,
Yeah.
a lot of players made plays in that Connecticut game. Trying to think back to it, like Ty Harris had a good second half.
Yeah.
Um, Dejanay came played some good minutes. So I just I just love a mentality of this team right now, and I just think
Yeah.
we're we're seeing a lot of refs factor in too. Like with these underdogs, like some of the the fouls that Atlanta got last night were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That even as just like an observer, not someone financially invested in the game, I'm just like, wow, I
Right.
cannot believe some of these calls. So I mean, with the way they're covering anything over 7.5, um, I'm probably gonna lay. I would love for the public to back Connecticut up a little bit, but um, we're now 4 straight games with all dogs. I wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
surprised if it keeps going. Um, but I, I I think we have to bet the under, like on
Yeah.
principle.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Connecticut is playing super fast, even though they say they want to. Shot really well last
They're
game.
faster than last year. They're still
Yeah,
not fast.
the Dream are fast. They just don't know what to do.
I mean, yeah, they're going to put a ton of shots up. Are they going to go in is always my question with them. And my bigger issue is the freaking turnovers for this team. At least they are one of the top rebounding teams. That's really the thing here, too.
Yeah.
These are the top two of the top offensive rebounding teams. The Sun are number 1, the Dream are number 3. So that rebounding battle, I think, is going to be crucial in this. And for that reason, I think we're going to lean a little bit more towards an under. But the Sun have seen 5 overs in their last 6 games. But that has been against very, very strong offenses. I don't know that the Dream
Crazy.
is competing on the same level as like the Aces.
Yeah. Ugh.
If
Ace.
we're in the low 160s,
Yeah.
I could get into an over,
Yeah.
maybe. you know?
Oh gosh, yeah. The Sun are. That 8-2 record looks so nice. Gosh,
Doesn't it?
I know,
Looks
man.
nice on paper.
Yeah, maybe I need to slow my roll with thinking Dream money line tomorrow. But yeah, 8 points. Give it to me. I will gladly take the Dream. I was talking to Jim, who's been on the show. Love Jim
Jim
Turvey.
Turvey.
Um,
Yep,
he
we
he
love Jim
was
Turvey
he
bets.
was he was thinking 10. So, um, I don't know. We'll see. 8 to 10 is my range.
Yeah, me too. I wouldn't want to take much less than that. I think 7.5 would be a sticking point for me going with the Dream. Anything under that, I wouldn't necessarily want to go with the Sun, but I wouldn't be able to grab the Dream. Total is trickier for me. I think the Sun defense, it's there sometimes, it's not other times. Sometimes they anchor with it, sometimes they forget about it. I want that to be more consistent again, but I have to say this slate of games, I'm not as excited as I was for Sunday or Tuesday. So,
Yeah.
something to keep in mind. Indiana Fever are at the Chicago Sky. I had trouble with this line. I'm too high on the baby Fever, like I'm sure you are. I think Sky at home -3.5. I had this as high as 5.5. I don't know. I put the total at 161.5. I'm not sure what we'll get.
Oh, I mean, did you? I was going to text you, but I was walking Ollie. But Kalia Copper is questionable for personal reasons. So I was on a show with Covers earlier today, and I got asked a question about like who are the players that would like impact the spread the most should they be out. Because I mean, Kalia's got to be one of them. Even if she doesn't score her usual 17, 18 points. She impacts the game in so many different ways with her hustle, her defense. I mean, she's just kind of everywhere, and like just a natural leader on the court.
I was gonna say leadership, yeah.
And with how good Leah Boston looked against Elizabeth Williams last time they played, I feel pretty confident. The Fever let one get away against Chicago. They're not gonna forget about that. Chrissy Sides is like, I love her. Like attitude. It gave me serious, without the cringe Kirk Cousins vibes, like you like that
Without the cringe.
like her walking through the locker room, fist pumping. So, you could not pay me to stay off the Fever. So I,
What's the number though? What's the number you want them at? Like the lowest you would take?
I pick them. I'm just kidding. Probably 2.5. And at that point, I'm taking money line.
Yeah. Well, especially no Kalia Copper. That's a huge,
Yeah.
huge factor here.
Yeah. You're getting production from so many different players. Like I didn't think, shout out Calvin Wetzel, but like I think Grace Berger is going to be what Grace Berger is right now. I mean, she's coming
He
in,
knew.
producing immediately. Aaliyah Boston's passing is underrated too. I mean, she's doing everything right. So,
Well, and Jim pointed out her scoring the other day. He was thinking maybe I'll go under on one of her props. She can't keep up this percentage for her scoring, and she has.
yeah, she had a couple down games, and I think the issue with her is just staying out of foul trouble. So many games. I mean, that was the whole problem in that Mercury fourth quarter. It's like, granted, I think the refs they're always terrible, but Brittany Griner has been able to draw like way too many fouls. And I love Brittany Griner, but I think some of these calls are atrocious, especially against a rookie like Aaliyah Boston. Let her get some reps. I know games are being decided, but still. So if she can stay out of foul trouble, I think she's good for at least 15 a night. I haven't touched her prop since I think I put one on and over in rebounds, but I haven't touched her props in a while just because I'm scared that she is going to get in foul trouble or she's going to go off for 20.
Right.
But I wanted to take Fever to win and Alita to score 20, but like FanDuel offered it at plus 600 when the implied odds should be like plus 1200. Can't win with these books.
No. Always trying to harsh your vibe. I agree with you. The underdogs are performing so well. Again, we have all road underdogs, which hasn't been performing as well as the home underdogs, but nevertheless, underdogs in general have been covering around 60%. Fever have been on an upswing. I just wonder, now the Clea Copper thing completely changes things. If she's playing, is this a letdown spot for the Fever because they're coming off of that high win?
Yeah, I meant to look it up earlier about the last time the Fever won 2 games in a row, and I think it was 2 seasons ago.
Oh my God.
Yeah. but they're due. They should have beat the Mercury.
They've been due though is the problem.
Yeah, every day's a chance. I mean, I felt so bad because I tweeted about how anytime they've been a favorite, they've lost outright. So
Yeah,
and
it's a good note.
they're up by 7 going to the fourth against the Mercury, and Sophie Cunningham happens. It's just awful. So you
And
give me
also
them as
Wade,
dogs.
like Wade makes me scared because I
Yeah,
think he
he's
makes
smart.
adjustments. He doesn't want this game to be close, and it was last time it went to overtime. They didn't forget that either. Now, again, all of this is a mute point if there's no Clea Copper because I do think that makes this almost a toss-up, right? Has to be a toss-up at that point.
Yeah, I would put it at pick 'em with the way both teams are playing. Now, Fever were pretty much in control that entire game. And then like the fourth quarter, I think it was just lead change after lead change or tie. Like they're just bucket after bucket. Great play by James Wade to get Alana Smith a layup at the buzzer, but and that was with Copper. So I mean, I feel confident. It's just if I see the Fever as a favorite, it's like the end of the baby Fever era, right? It's like don't just keep doubting them.
I want 4.5 or more.
Oh, that would be amazing. I wouldn't do any work tomorrow. I just say I'm getting root canal, and then
He's got baby fever.
yeah.
Colin's sick for work.
We got to make T-shirts. Baby Fever. I want to draw the players.
Everybody wants your Kelsey Plum shirt from last year still. Dano's an accomplished T-shirt maker. Everybody wants them.
I gotta make these Asia Wilson baseball jerseys that look sick, and it's supposedly gonna happen, but the minimum order is like 48, so I gotta figure out how to do this.
We're gonna set up a merch shop.
I know. I mean, I don't care how much money we made yesterday. We're not made of it, so someone's got to feed Ollie.
All right, let's look at the last game. The Seattle Storm at the Las Vegas Aces. Gotta be double digits here, of course. This is one of the worst teams in the league. No shade to the Seattle Storm because they've put something together the last couple games. They've fought a little bit, but it's the Aces. They're at home, 14.5 or higher, right?
At least. This should be the highest. I mean, especially after what happened in Seattle, game 1. This should be the highest spread of the season. I mean, if Chicago was 13.5, like this.
Come on.
This could push 16.
It was 13.5 in that first game of the season you're talking about where the Aces and the Storm played, and the Aces won 105-64 for those who are catching up. But that spread was 13.5. So this has to be higher than that.
Yeah, and it's in Las Vegas, correct?
It's in Vegas. It was last time as well.
Yeah, but who knows?
No, it was in Seattle. Yeah. It was in Seattle.
I'm thinking, I'm sure a lot of these Vegas Aces were at the hockey game last night. Maybe went out and enjoyed themselves, celebrated a championship, second major championship. Joe Biden, not the first. Had to correct him there. Hopefully he listens.
Someone has to.
Oh, Clea Copper just tweeted something. I set up tweet alerts too, not just for you, Danielle, but for the Chicago Sky in case we get some injury notice. Okay, we're good. They're just promoting her as an all-star.
As it should be.
How do you deal with these 16-point spreads? Like, what if it's?
I don't like them. I don't normally bet them. I've started to bet them just because underdogs have been so successful. But this is a situation where we're talking about the 11th or 12th place team in the league for me versus the first place team. This is completely a stay away, even though maybe Seattle rallies towards the end because we have seen Vegas sort of pull people in the end if they're blowing teams out. That's your saving grace here if you do want to take the points of Seattle. And it'd be hard to fault you based on everything we've seen so far this season. But this is not fun. This is not a fun spread to bet.
No, it's just you're just doing mental gymnastics about what the scenario could be.
What if this?
I mean, we did it a few times last year. I know Calvin and I looking at hitting Fever fourth quarter money lines at great odds pregame, which is something that could happen in this game. But I will say the minutes that Jokic is getting are super valuable. I think she's super talented. I think a lot of people were surprised when she ended up taking the starting role, and it wasn't Jade Melbourne, who's everyone talks about because she's 20. She's Australian. This Jokic is fearless. I love it. So, I mean, Also, you never know. I mean, Stewie shot 1 for 13. Things happen. So, uh, I mean, if it's
How's Kelsey doing, by the way? Kelsey Plum watch, because just fill the people in on how the season started and how it's going now for Kelsey Plum, because she's on your fantasy team.
uh, yeah, I look at my fantasy team and I just want to bench them on principle. They don't deserve.
All of mine were hurt, so
No, I mean,
everybody on my team was hurt.
Kelsey is at least making more shots from all over the floor and not just, you know,
Attempting them from deep, yeah.
yeah. I think her like her plus minus has gotten a lot better too. I mean, we talk about a player struggling, but it's still the Las Vegas Aces who've only lost one game and probably
Mm-hmm.
won't lose for another week. But they they need Kelsey if they want to win a championship. They need Kelsey to get back to Kelsey. So I think
Yeah.
she's going to keep chucking. I'm I won't touch another one of her props for the rest of the season unless it gets down to like 13 and a half, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about a player who, like, I don't know about you, but for me, last year was like legit a top five MVP candidate, and
For
now
sure.
now I third best option on offense, maybe fourth, depending on the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to trust her at any point. I think it's just the Aces. The defense is so strong, the offense is so crisp. I'm a I'm with you. I think if it gets above, it's so weird saying this, but if it gets above 17, I'll bet the Storm. But I'm with you. I think I stay away. Maybe look at the total, but even totals with these games are hard, right?
I mean, the Aces, 4 of their last 5 have gone over. Their offense is obviously the top offense in the league. The Storm have been actually able to score, surprisingly, much to all of our surprise. It obviously comes and goes with Joel Lloyd.
They have those first quarters sometimes, right?
Yeah. If we get a high total close to 170, which we've been getting in all of these Aces games, I could look to an under. If we get close to 170, I could entertain an
Yeah,
under.
should have bet the under today.
That
Gosh,
Wings game, yep.
you know,
Enrique did not look so great. Yeah.
I can't with her.
It's hot
It's
and cold.
so inefficient. Um, and Jim was talking earlier about Jackie Young's 3 point numbers the last few games. They've been tailing off, so it's just the Aces are scoring at such an efficient rate that they don't need a lot of threes.
Mm.
Um, do love Ezzy down low to at least slow down Asia. Um, and
And
I
Ezzy been playing. Ezzy looks good.
yeah,
At least on the defensive end, obviously.
but you need minimum like you need Jewel to be Jewel, and you need two role players to step up and outperform
Hmm.
themselves if you want to get close to covering here, which is a tough task, especially when you got an awesome Sammy Wickham game last night. She doesn't
Yeah.
normally have multiple of those in a row. Um, so mm, I don't even know if I
Six
look at
six
first
double
half.
digit spreads for the Aces so far this season. They've had it 6 times. They've been favored by double digits. They've covered 3 of them, so half of them, but they have not covered their last 2. So out of the gates, more successful, not so much recently. Maybe the rest of the league is starting to ramp up too. Maybe they were on the road a long time, played a bunch of games. They're back at home. That's huge here. They've had some days of rest. Best offense in the league. But again, if we have a really high total, I could entertain an under, but who wants to bet an under on an Aces game?
Yeah,
Nobody.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I do see a chance that the Aces come out a little, I don't want to say lackadaisical, but like kind of carefree. Like whether they say it or not, it's in the back of their minds. They beat the hell out of this team. Um,
Hmm.
this team does not have the capabilities to come close within 10 of them. So they might be a little bit of going through the motions or at home. Um, it should be a packed house. I bet so many people are going to show up with like just the championship energy of the city.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's either they're going to come out and they win by 30 and I'm not surprised, or they kind of struggle to make it through and they end up winning by 15. So I'm with
I
you.
think they're up big. They go into the fourth quarter and they pull back, and maybe the Storm can get that back door. I think maybe
That's
that.
that sounds so lovely. I
Sounds so Aces.
yeah. I mean, I didn't realize I had I I have a lot of money spread out on my normal bets, but I always like do like there's 6 games. I'm absolutely gonna just throw $100 at a parlay, right? And of course, I thought Chicago was dead, but 13 and a half hit, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, or I would have been really sad to look at that later. I completely forgot about it. Uh, I am not concerned at all about the rest either. I think we're seeing a lot of
Mm-hmm.
teams come out and shoot really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just mm, 16 points or higher scares the hell out of me. So I'll leave it at
Yeah.
that. I'm with you. Let's hopefully get a fourth quarter back door or bet live. Danielle special.
Yeah. Love a live bet. Actually, haven't been live betting as much. I told you I really love the slate on Sunday and Tuesday. Didn't have to live bet. Now
Yeah.
this Thursday's looking more like that. Also, just before we go, touch on Friday. Both of these games look terrible to me. Mercury at the Mystics and Lynx at the Sparks. The Lynx probably the worst team in the league right now, if it's not the Storm. And the Mercury right around there, right around at the bottom as well. We talked about this before we jumped on. I said, do you put the Mystics below 6 in your power ratings right now? Are they in the bottom half of the league? And we both said, yeah, they are right now. To the point where when the Fever beat the Mystics, I thought, great, but it's not as impressive a win as you think about because the Mystics have not been playing well this season. This is not a top 4 team.
I wanna clip that dialogue. Clip that. That's the Mystics should take that and play it, and
Yeah.
they should look in the mirror.
I'm giving them bulletin board material in
Yeah.
audio form.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's been there. If you look at I don't know, Kareem Copeland, great reporter for Washington Post, covers the Mystics. Look at some of the quotes that he's tweeted from Atlanta Deladon about their practices and about how there's no focus at practice.
Red
Uh,
flags.
yeah, and this team shouldn't be like that. They have a lot of vets, so it doesn't make much sense. But Ariel Atkins is really not doing much this year. They really need a backup point guard for when Natasha Cloud goes out. Um, Shakira
Not if,
having
but
a great
when.
year. Yeah, exactly. So um, the other thing is, I did hear from a credible source in Phoenix, who I trust and um, is a good person, but no official word on it. But they expect Brittany Griner to be out 2 to 3 weeks, which is unfortunate. Probably the worst possible thing that could happen to the Mercury at this point. So
Wow.
take that information for what you will. I still haven't seen any official notice come out yet about questionable or doubtful anything. So, but that's what they said. Hip was not looking great yesterday. Obviously, she didn't come back in. And I don't know. The Mercury scored 25 points in the second half or something. It's just dreadful. So that
Diana had none?
yeah, what, fifth time in her career?
Yeah.
So, I mean, with all that being said, is there any chance, like, back against the wall mentality comes out and the Mercury find a way to pull this off without BG? Because I can
No.
see it. I kind of see it, Danielle. That's how bad the Mystics are to me. That
Jeez.
because we know Diana can like still pull off a Diana game. Like
Yeah.
Sophie has looked really great. Sug Sutton's not bad. I understand when you get to the bench, it's not pretty. But and your girl Bruin has been great lately.
Michaela Onyenuede,
Yeah,
she looks great.
yeah. But I mean, like, who on the Mystics bench scares you? I mean, Lee Meng has been playing. Lee Meng, I think is how you
Who's
pronounce
on
it.
the Mystics bench?
I know, right? Tiana Hawkins is hit or miss. Shatori Walker Kimbrough's not really having a great season, but nobody scares me. When EDD goes off the court, it's like I just want to live bet immediately.
Yeah, change the channel. Sorry, Shakira. Sorry, Shakira.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's an automatic under though. I don't. I mean, you could set the total at like. Ugh.
150.
I don't know. I was texting Doug during that Storm Mystics like 2 games, and he literally was like gun to my head, 140. I take the under. So, yeah. I mean, I think that's gonna be a tough line to set for the odds makers, but
Yeah.
under's a sure thing for me. And depending on how high the spread is, maybe I take the Mercury as like a total. Wow, he hates the Mystics. I would
No.
love to be that. Like,
You know, the
just,
Mercury before the season started to miss playoffs, plus 700, plus 900, something in that range. And it seemed obscene because when was the last time they missed playoffs? I mean,
never have.
never.
Never.
Never missed playoffs. So it seemed obscene, but you could get them plus 700, plus 900. I know we pointed out that stat before the season. I don't even know what the Mystics to miss playoffs was, but it would be hilarious if that actually happened because it had to be even longer.
Right? They won't even show it like or offer it anymore.
Yeah.
I did take
It's too late now.
I did take this was on this was on May 22nd. Watched 2 Mercury games and said, "All right, no." And FanDuel only let me bet $80, but plus 630.
Yeah.
And I think to make playoffs, they were like
I saw 2 games and said no.
Yeah. To make the playoffs, the Mercury were like minus 200 like last week, which is crazy. Yeah. Like how I don't know what they're doing there, but yeah. I mean,
they also barely made it last year. They barely slid into them last year. So I just think this is just not it. It's not it for the Mercury.
They put a banner up though. Covered in game 1 of first round.
That's what we care about as bettors, obviously. Dano, this is so negative. The Friday games look terrible. We have to end with win of the week. So do you have a win of the week, either betting or non-betting, a life win, anything? Give us something positive, please.
Shoot. You know, my dog is the coolest dude on the planet. I'll put my dog up against anybody's, but he got the coolest compliment from a kid today at the coffee shop. This kid goes up to him and said, "You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." I try to say it in a little kid voice, and I was like, "Damn right he is, right?"
How old was this kid?
I don't know. He had to be like 5. He's still going to school.
Oh, adorable.
Why, school does not end in New York. Like it's June 14th. There's still kids going to school. I don't get it. It's not like Texas. But yeah, also 3 money line dog parlay yesterday was epic. Plus 4,500.
Huge hit.
Yeah, it makes up for all the money I lost today. Betting the Wings second quarter and the Wings over in the first half. Good Lord. So many turnovers.
Streaky. They're so streaky. It's so hard for me.
I worry about Enrique. What's your win of the week?
My betting win is, I believe this dates back to Sunday. I am 12-1. So that's been a stellar ride, and now I just feel like as I bet the rest of the season, I'm playing with house money. It's gonna be so much fun. So crazy streak. I told you I love the Sunday and the Tuesday slates. It was easy to bet pre-flop, which is not always the case, as we've detailed in this pod today. But I also think, isn't it terrible to be at the top like that? Like, be like, oh, I'm on a great hot streak, because it feels like you're at the top of the roller coaster and it's about to go down, and your stomach's about to just,
Yeah, I've totally felt it today when I was going to be forced to place a bet at PointsBet where I never win a bet there. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to win a lot today. That's fine. Take our loss.
Keep shooting, shoot or shoot.
Yeah. Not Dion Waiters. I'm not going to keep going. But I mean, there's so many different angles, and it's the beautiful thing about having multiple things to bet on. Like, if I just want to take a day off and do some props, happy to do that. I think I've been doing remotely well with team totals. I feel like there's certain teams I love to pick on, which is great. And then the flow of information, the fact that we find out players are going to be out. So, but 12-1, my God. Yeah. That's why. I mean, I think I've said it before on your show. I've said it, everywhere else. Getting into WNBA betting, you're the first person I saw do it. Tweet alerts set on. It's the reason they're on. Got to do it.
Yeah.
That under got scary though yesterday.
Oh yeah, it did.
Oh my God, I was like, Fever, chill. We get it.
You're winning. You're winning. Relax. I know. I was hoping the Mystics would help us out there a little bit with their defense, but I don't know. Mystics are on my no list for the time being, which is going to be for a while, because no shows next week because I'm going to be on vacation. I know. I'm taking vacation during WNBA season. It's terrible, but no shows next week. So that's sad.
Hey, I did it the last 2 years. Did my honeymoon, and then we went to the French Open. Got to do it. And then you come back.
I have to watch the games though. Like even on vacation, I'm going to want to watch the games. It's will I be betting on them or should I take a break? We'll see. We'll see. I'll probably still be on Twitter, and you can find Dano on Twitter as well at Dr. Mataya. You can find your bets at Spread the Floor, which is powered by her hoop stats. Dano, thank you so much for coming on again today. We appreciate your insights always.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Enjoy vacation.
Yeah, and I will see the listeners back here, not next week, but the week after that. Have a good break. Or go follow Dano because he's going to be betting these.